Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to share with you my second alternative card using the June 2023 paper pumpkin kit called Welcome In. This beautiful kit creates 9 simple handmade cards with beautiful patterns and color combinations. These are the intended cards that you can make with the kit. There are enough supplies to make 3 of each card. Each month I like to take the contents from the paper pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. Today I'm sharing with you 2 card ideas that use one card base from the kit. By cutting the card base into sections, we can create multiple cards from one. I love the monochromatic color scheme that both cards have. If you're new to my channel and would like to continue to see all of my paper pumpkin alternatives this month, make sure to subscribe using the link in the bottom right corner. To begin, I'm going to go ahead and cut the pieces for this card first. So I'm going to take this card base from the kit and I'm going to cut it in half at the score line, which is 4 1/4 inches. This full piece I'm going to put on the side for our card number 2. This piece here, I'm going to go ahead and cut at 2 3/4 inches, and I'm going to leave the length at 5 1/2 inches. This smaller piece we're going to be using in a future card, so go ahead and put that off to the side in kind of your scrap pile. So the other pieces that you're going to need from the kit to create this card is the tall Night of Navy vase. And then do you remember this piece that we cut from yesterday's alternative? So go ahead and find that scrap piece and you're going to use that on today's card. From your craft room, you're going to need a Night of Navy card base and then a balmy blue piece of cardstock. This is 2 15/16 by 1 7/16. If you want, you can go ahead and round that up to 3 inches by 1 1/2 inches. But removing just that little 1/16 of an inch makes it fit a little bit better with this piece on top. And then I also have 16 inches of basic white twine. So our first step is to go ahead and add the pattern paper to the left side of our card base. I'm just going to do that with a little liquid glue. And you're going to place it about 1/4 of an inch or so from that edge. So if you have some grid paper or a ruler, go ahead and use that to line everything up. And then of course, don't forget to smooth out your glue. So there's step number 1. The next step is to find a greeting that you want to use on your card. This greeting does not come as part of the stamp set from the kit. The stamp set includes some really great greetings, but none that I wanted to use on this card or my second card for today. So I went to my past paper pumpkin stamp sets and I found this one. This one is from April 2023. It's called All the Little Things. And I really liked the With Deepest Sympathy for this card. And then on my second card, I'm using I'm grateful for all the little things that you do. So that's where I'm getting those 2 greetings. So I have With Deepest Sympathy on a clear block, and I'm using the Night of Navy ink that came in the kit. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up and then stamp it in the top left corner of this strip that we cut out yesterday. So then we can take this piece and add it to the balmy blue piece, and it should be right in the center with the edges matching up. So just go ahead, and if you need to do any trimming to remove a little bit from the edges, you can do that. But it will look something like this. Then before we add our vase, we're going to add that 16 inches of twine. So just take a little bit of that tear and tape and add it to the center of the vase. Then take your 16 inches and we're going to do a double faux bow on the back. So you're going to find the center, place it in the middle, make sure it's going the direction you want. So I want it to start on the bottom left and go to the top right. And then I like to use the width of my finger, and you just create a faux bow on one side with part of the twine. So that was on one. So you can see how that was this side of the twine. And then you're just going to repeat with the second side of twine, just sticking it to that tear and tape there. And then you can adjust those loops a little bit if you want to have them a little bigger or wider. It's pretty easy to adjust. And then once you have it where you want it, go ahead and take another of those strips and just place it right over the top of the twine to hold everything in place. And then you can add that to your label just on the right side of your greeting. And if you want to trim down your twine a little bit, you can. Just use a nice sharp pair of scissors. And then I did pop this up with some of those strips as well on the card. And I placed it a little lower than center, and you just center it on that pattern strip, just like that. All right, so for card number 2, there are some more pieces that we need to cut. So we're going to go back to that second half of the card base, and we're going to trim off just a little bit from the top and the side. So let's start from the top. So we're just going to remove 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So that puts me at 5 3/8, and then 4 1/8 is the final dimension. And this is going to give us that nice thin border when we add it to our Night of Navy card base. So you can put that off to the side. Yesterday, we also trimmed down one of the envelopes, and this is the back side. This color is boho blue, and so you could also use just regular boho blue cardstock if you have that. We're going to cut this down to 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches. So let's go ahead and do this here. Let's cut this to 2 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to rotate to 3 1/2. And that's going to give us this nice solid piece for the center of our card. And then I do have some more Night of Navy, and you could use regular Night of Navy cardstock, or you could use the other piece from the Night of Navy card base, which we had yesterday. So either one of that is fine. I'm going to go ahead and just use this other piece from the Night of Navy card base, and we're going to cut that just 1/8 of an inch larger. So that's going to put us at 2 3/8 of an inch by 3 5/8 of an inch. So 2 3/8 and 3 5/8. So I will all have these dimensions. They're usually, you can find them either in the description below or on my blog. So you can see how that gives you a nice small border around that boho blue piece. And then just save all your scraps, because we do have a card at the very end that uses those scraps. So put them in your scrap pile. So another piece that you're going to need is some balmy blue cardstock. This is just a 1-inch strip. The length doesn't really matter, But what we do need to do is stamp our greeting on that strip. So like I mentioned, the greeting comes from the April paper pumpkin kit. And it's just, I'm grateful for all the little things you do. And I am inking it up in Night of Navy. And then I'm going to stamp it on this strip in the center. Not in the center of the length, but in the center of the width. So you can see that it's off to one side, just like that. And then you're going to go back and get your paper trimmer. And I'm going to trim the length down. And I'm looking for maybe like 1/4 of an inch on each side. But you can just kind of eyeball where that's going to sit. So if it's a little more or a little less, that's fine. Okay, so now that you've got that top part, we're going to create kind of this faux folded banner on the top. So you can see that we've got these little banner strips on the side. So what you'll do with the rest of your 1-inch piece is you'll take your banner punch, or yeah, this is called a pick a banner punch. You're going to first place one end in and punch it out, flip it, place the second end in, and punch it out. And then it's probably, well, look at that. That's pretty perfect. But if yours is not perfect, I'm going to show you how to get the right size. So let's pretend it's not perfect. And you're just going to cut maybe 1 inch or so on each side. So that's what you're looking for, is about 1 inch of that side. And then the center piece can just get thrown away. Next, you're going to take some dimensionals. You can use the strips that came in the kit, or you can just use some regular dimensionals. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to add them to the banner pieces, and you place them on the straight side. Then you'll take the banner and you'll place the greeting over the banner and just kind of get an idea of how much is showing. So I have just a little bit, maybe about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of my greeting to that middle point inside the banner. And then you'll do repeat and do the exact same on the other side. And just eyeball it. It doesn't need to be perfect. You do want to make sure that the edges, the top and the bottom edges, line up. If you have any pieces that are kind of poking out, you can always take your scissors and cut from the bottom. Just kind of trim those pieces out of being seen. So, okay. So that is now ready for our card. Let's go ahead and just finish up a couple little things that we need to do, such as adding the cut pieces to their layers. So we have the envelope piece that we're going to add to our Night of Navy piece. And just smooth the glue out. Especially when you have the thin paper like that envelope paper, because it can really show that liquid glue really quickly. Then we have our pattern paper that we're going to add to our Night of Navy card base. Same thing, just gets added with a little liquid glue, or of course any other adhesive that you have and you like. Make sure that you place the pattern going the direction that you like onto your card base. And smooth out that glue. Okay, so we have those two pieces and we have our greeting. Let's go ahead and do a couple more things with the stamping, and then we can put this card together. We're going to stamp on our vase this floral leaf design that comes in the kit, and I'm going to stamp it in balmy blue. This color coordinates nicely with those light blue flowers in the pattern paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink that up and then stamp that near the bottom of the vase, just across it. There's a card in the kit that has this same technique. And I like to do it on this chipboard that came in the kit because I can see the outside edge of the vase. If I'm doing it on my white grid paper, then it sometimes disappears and I can't see it. And then I'm also going to need 3 of the flowers from that same stamp set in Night of Navy. And you can just stamp this on some scratch paper or some basic white cardstock. And then you're going to go ahead and cut those out with either your fussy cutting with some paper snips, or you can use the dies that were an add-on with this month's kit. So once you've done that, go ahead and add that center panel to the center of your card base, and then we're going to add these things. So because this already has some dimensionals, I'm going to go ahead and add this with some liquid glue. And you're going to place that first near the bottom with maybe about 1/4 of an inch or so open. So just like that. Then you can use some of the dimensionals. You can either use regular dimensionals or the strips from the kit. And add the vase first, and you'll add that in the center, right above your greeting. Then you'll take your flowers and add those. And I just tucked the top 2 in the left corner. You can use glue dots or a little bit of liquid glue. Like that. And then the last one, you can pop up with a little mini dimensional, or again, the strips if you have those. And that just goes on the right side between the greeting and the vase. Just like that. And that card is all done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create these 2 cards from one card base in the June 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in subscribing to get your own monthly crafting kit, please do so using the link in the description below. If you would like to see written instructions, measurements, or close-up images on how I created these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.